Hey, warrior friends, happy Tuesday. I am so excited for a brand new warrior conversation today with my warrior friend Esther. We're going to dive into all things being intentional in singleness, in relationships, in dating. Even if you are familiar with the concept of if he wanted to, he would. Esther has an incredible devotional on that. So I can't wait. Hey, Esther, I see you hopping in. And once Esther, we'll get her in here in just a moment. Hey, and while you guys are joining us, just say hi in the chat. Let Esther and I know where you are joining us from today, so that way we can say hi and thank you for your conversation. So glad you guys are with us. Esther will be hopping in just a moment. Thank you guys for joining. There she is.
Hi. Having the best day. I'm literally in my bathing suit still. I was at the beach earlier working from the beach, so not to make all the listeners jealous, but it's a gorgeous day out.
California girl and a Florida girl here, so
Right.
two beach girls.
And the Florida girl is still in me too.
How did I forget?
I know. We got to make you a California girl too, though.
I need to come visit you. I feel like we have so many mutual friends, and I feel like I filmed almost everyone's becoming story maybe now.
Aww.
So anyways,
Love that.
Yeah, well, hey, thank you guys for joining this warrior conversation. We're going to kick it off with first, I'm going to ask Esther to just introduce herself. I'll introduce myself for anybody who's maybe not familiar with who we are. And then we'll dive into all things singleness and relationships. So, Esther, if someone wasn't familiar with you, who are you?
I am an author and speaker and just lover of people. And I help singles learn to love the journey and love their life right in front of them.
I absolutely love that. And it's so true. Y'all, after this live, you have to go follow Esther, especially on TikTok and here on Instagram. I love TikToks. They always make me laugh. They're fun. So that's Esther. My name's Emily. I lead BecomingMeTV. I am also an author now. Woohoo!
Woo, yes, that's right. Congratulations.
Thank you, girl. And I just love telling people stories and really equipping me and us to become who we just dream of being in life. So that's a little bit about me, but I'm excited to dive in. So I'm
hot topic.
I know. I'm single and I've got pen and paper ready to just learn all the things from you, girl.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, and you even shared in your introduction, you literally are investing your life, your words, your passion, your time into helping singles live now and live the story they want to tell. And so even in the thread that I hear the word intentional and even celebrate. So give us a couple tangible tools, without spilling all the beans, because you also have a book, you have incredible resources so people can dive in deeper. But what are a couple things that we can do to live and love our life now?
Okay. So I want to frame this with singleness. It's not like the buzzword that everyone wants to be defined as, right? It's not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put that on my resume, my profile on, Instagram. So I want to just acknowledge the cringe factor in this conversation and the cheesiness and all of that. And I'm fully aware that my message is totally sometimes just it's polarizing sometimes, because it's the topic that no one really wants to acknowledge. We don't want to acknowledge the fact that sometimes we're discontent in singleness. We don't want to acknowledge the fact that sometimes we feel disheartened, or we don't want to acknowledge the fact that actually we're loving it and maybe we're cool and totally down with just being single and being undefined by a status and undefined by the search for someone. Yeah. And that there's actually more in our heart for this to be fully present in this season. Hi, Sammy. I'm just seeing some of your comments here. Just want to let you guys know I see you and so glad you're here. Love you, girl. So I want to preface it with that because I'm not your typical, I don't love talking about this topic. It's such a joke that I even have a book on this. And it's just, because I just feel at 21 years of age, I just felt like there were no books out there and there was no content out there that helped me feel like I could just live fully present in my season and want it. And there was no one encouraging and affirming me and my singleness to say, hey, it's actually not just about being single. Like, actually, this is just life. It's just life, and you're not married. That's all. Like, it's and so I think it's just funny that we sometimes contextualize things around being single or being married, and really it's just we're humans, and some people are living in a house with another human and have a covenant and commitment with them, and some people have roommates. So I just want to put it out there. It doesn't have to be this super weird, awkward conversation. But you asked about intentionality, Emily. Mm-hmm. And I think that we need to be intentional in a lot of different areas of our life. I think that, and I love to hear even more about your own journey and experience, but intentionality for me began when I decided to stop wishing my season away and confront the beliefs and misbeliefs of my past and that I grew up with, and all of the ways in which I formulated my expectations of marriage and my emotional connection to my identity as a single person, and start confronting that intentionally, and stop searching for all the books of like 10 ways to get the guy and like how to 10 text messages that he will be irresistible to him, and you know what I mean? Like, there's all of that out there. And then here I am, and I'm like, hey, single shouldn't suck, actually, like, how about you go camping with some friends and hug a bear? Like, don't hug a bear. That's dangerous. That's not professional advice. But you know what I mean? Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too, and what you've found to be the thing that makes you come alive in your season. Because you say intentionality, which is beautiful, and that's such a word that we can use and connect with. But I think it's all about finding the sense of adventure in the life right in front of you, no matter what season you're in.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And I love how you worded, like, a lot of mindset and choosing to be present. So if we're wishing for another season, we're not really present in this season, And so I even like how you went backwards. Like, what are the expectations that I've had up until this? And so I think if we really want to be present today, if we're not willing to work through all the stuff that brought us here, like, we're not going to be able to be present. And about the future, we can't be present. And so there's just so many expectations and mindsets that taking the time to pause and think through what you're thinking, why you're thinking what you're thinking, is really cool. And it helps you identify what brought you here and where you're going. So for me, just discovering, like, what has been my mindset about dating and relationships up until this point? What are and the disappointments, being 31 and not where I thought I would be, and just holding that and owning it. And when you do, you just have this freedom so that you celebrate where you are and what God is doing today. And so I think that posture has helped me with the intentionality side, Esther, of not missing out on this season. How sad would that be? Like, what God's trying to do in me now and who I'm becoming, because I'm so focused about tomorrow, what I want, that I miss out on who I am today. And that's just bad.
Right. And that totally goes in line with your whole becoming identity. Because if we're skipping over the becoming, then how are we ever going to actually become? There's the ing part. Nobody wants the ing. Becoming. It's a journey. It's a process. And it's a metamorphosis. But it doesn't happen by mistake or by accident. It does happen on purpose, living your season on purpose, and taking off the limitations of those expectations and throwing it so much wider and saying, okay, God, what is your purpose and your plan for my life? Not just my marriage one day and all the hopes and dreams and fantasies that we've built around it, but really just have an eternal perspective.
Yeah. I love how you even reminded me of the ing in becoming, because we never stop, I believe, on this side of eternity becoming, right? We're all always learning. And so if we're just focused on the end result of, okay, if my dream is to be in a relationship, or
Mhm.
that's great, but then what happens when you get there? You know,
Mhm.
focusing on the journey and who you're becoming on the way there
Mhm.
gives you the freedom and the opportunity to enjoy every season and every
Mhm.
stage, and then continue growing when you get there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there has been a statement that's been floating around, and you've written a YouVersion devotional about it. And I cannot wait because there's like a million TikToks. I think there's even a country song now that's if he wanted to, he would.
That's awesome.
Talk to the ladies about the truth of this statement, why it's important, and then if you have any advice for the dudes, feel free to share there too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I get some shade from the dudes when I post about this because they're like, we want to, and we would, and I'm like, then do it. Freaking message her. But then there's also guys that are like, we want to, but we won't because we know better. And I'm like, well, hats off to you, but how about you delete her number? How about you cut her loose? How about you stop texting her? So you know what I mean? There's so much around the conversation that I know it's a little spicy, but I'm willing to get spicy. I'm Italian, so I've got the fire in my blood.
I love it.
Kind of ruffle some feathers, but I'm not always right. Like, I'm not a relationship expert, but I will say 30,000 plus girls have downloaded this devotional.
That's
And I
awesome.
think that that's just mind blowing to me because first of all, I released it like 3 months ago.
Wow.
And I was just like, I actually thought that my computer was broken and that I'm like, this can't be real. I cannot believe, but it was real. And then I just realized how like so common this is amongst women.
Mhm.
And what I say, this situation, it is a situationship type experience. If y'all know what I'm talking about, if you've seen Jersey Shore, you know the situationship, you know the drama, you know the breadcrumbing that we get when the guy of our dreams asks us out for a burrito 30 minutes before he's about to go to Chipotle, and you're like, oh my gosh, like me, no way, like I can't believe he's finally asking me out. And he's not asking you out, he's asking you to fill a space of time and affection for him so that he feels a little less lonely. But obviously he's not aware of that and he's not going to define it as that. And so I think so often we build this fantasy in our head around these situationships, and we think and expect more of these men than they're offering us. Maybe they're actually totally being in the friend zone. They're just being nice. I've done that. I've thought guys were so into me when they were just like, no, I'm just like sharing this with you, or I'm just being nice, or I'm being a friend. But because I was reading into it, then I created the drama. So I think it can go both ways for sure, and girls can do the same to guys. So it's so important to have healthy boundaries, and don't text after a certain time, and be very honest and clear with your intentions. And so yeah, so I think if he wanted to, he would resonate with so many women because we really have lowered our standards. We've missed our self-worth. We have settled for the breadcrumbs. We've missed out on even feeling pursued by Jesus. And really, my devotional takes you through 5 days of different stages of kind of unwinding the toxic love patterns. I talk about attachment style, which I'm a huge fan of people reading. The book Attached changed my life. I'm a huge proponent of people really diving into scripture and finding out, okay, what does God actually mean when he says that God, not your marital status, defines your life, and how do we actually go about navigating our desires, because we can desire this person, that person, this person. How do we know when it's a godly desire? There's just so much there that I unpack and that I can totally relate to because I've been there. I've been the weird girl. I've dated the weird guys. Like the situationships, I've had like 20 of them. And so I think that we can all relate to, if he wanted to, he would, and raise our hand and say, hey, I'm done lowering my standards. I'm over it. I'm cutting it off and I'm moving on because I freaking know how worthy I am. And Jesus pursued me. He wanted to, he did, and we're going for it.
Yes, done lowering my standards, and I want to
Yeah.
challenge everybody to just drop, like, raise your hand in the chat if you're with Esther and I, and you are not lowering your standards anymore. That is powerful. We've referenced two resources specifically from you. You have a book, Single Shouldn't Suck. You have this incredible YouVersion devotional. You have a community, a resource. Like, tell us more about how people can connect with you digitally, buy your book, like, just all the things.
Sure. Well, Instagram is the best way right now for us to just connect. I'm all about my DMs. In fact, I just remembered I have a DM from a girl. Oh, shoot. If you DM me and it goes in the requests and I don't see it, please keep DMing because I will always respond. And I just think it's so precious that so many amazing women share their most vulnerable moments with me. But I would love to connect with you guys on Instagram, on TikTok, of course, like Emily said. That's where all my cringeworthy content is. And only 3/4 of it make it over to Instagram. But yeah, and then also I do have my book, Single Shouldn't Suck. It's available on Amazon Prime if you like next day delivery, or on my website if you like a good deal. I do have a community for singles. I always say, like, I use clickbait and I'm like, hot Christian singles. That's up to you to decide if they're hot or not. And it's actually under construction right now, but will be available very soon. So please just DM me or email me if you're interested in joining.
That's okay. Tell us a little bit more about this, like, resource and community too. If somebody was like, okay, I might DM you, but like, what is it?
Oh, sure. So the community actually is just a Facebook group. Yeah, it's just a Facebook group. It's with hundreds of other singles who are in their, I would say, later years in life, probably like in their between 20s to late 30s, and not 20s aren't, like, I would say late 20s. And
Esther?
we're all in our later years of life at this point. COVID aged us all. So, like, what is age anymore? What's the number?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's just a Facebook group, and very active, and yeah, just an awesome way for people to get connected all over.
No, I love that because it's so easy at times to think, especially, and I think in any season, but right now we're talking about singleness. I have thought this at points in my life. I am the only single person in the world, which is such a lie. Like, it is such a lie. So anytime that we maybe are struggling with something, we're insecure, we're disappointed, whatever our feeling is attached to it, it's very easy to isolate and feel like we're alone. And that's the power of love, that you're building a community. You have resources equipped
Right.
to love and live our life now, but then you're together, like, we're not alone in it. And that's powerful.
Yeah.
So thank you for building this community. Is there anything else you would want to share from your heart to somebody who is single and they're just trying to navigate this season the best that they can?
Yeah. You know, I hate cliches, Emily.
Bring it, girl.
I'm such not a cliche girl. I think when people tell me, and the reason that I was so motivated to write Single Shouldn't Suck for so long is because I was driving in a car with a woman one time, and she was asking me about my dating life and stuff, and she just goes, oh, you know, I was praying and fasting and hadn't dated in years and was just dating Jesus. And, I prayed a prayer about my future husband, and the next week, God sent him. So Esther, just like, if you just forget about dating, you forget men exist, and you just forget that you need anyone or want anyone, and you just delight in Jesus. As soon as you do, God will send you your husband. And I never in my life have wanted to jump out of a moving vehicle more. And I was just like, God bless you and thank you for nothing, because that was so unhelpful. And so if I could say anything to listeners out there who might be listening to this later, your story matters. Your longing of your heart matters. The fact that you want to get married matters. But what matters most is the life that you have and that God has given you. And not everyone has a perfect story. No one has a perfect story. and we can't erase any parts of it, and we can't create, things to come. But what we can do is live it well, what we have been given, and pray and seek God for the adventure, not just contentment. I'm not okay with just being content. I want to live the thrill of the life of faith that God has for me. I don't care if I move to India, China, Africa, or a block down the street. I'm going to live the adventure that God has for me. And so I just say, break off any cliche or limiting belief that you've had about your singleness, or what it should look like, or if you should be a foster mom or dad now, or if you want to go on that mission trip, or if you want to live abroad, or if you want to move to another city. Absolutely say yes to it all by faith in Jesus. And I promise you, you're going to meet incredible people along that journey. And in conversation with God as he leads you with peace, you're going to find one that's going to stick around a lot longer.
Ooh, drop the mic. That was and so encouraging. Thank you for sharing that. And just thank you for joining this warrior conversation tonight, who you are, who you're becoming. You inspire and encourage me. And y'all, if you're not following Esther, go follow her, buy her book, and download the YouVersion devotional, and DM her so you can get on the Facebook group list of the community. So thank you so much, Esther. I appreciate you. Thank you all for joining us. And yes, this was recorded on Instagram. The replay will be on my Instagram, Becomings, and BecomingMe.TV later this week. So thank you all for joining us. Rest of the night. Talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye, Emily. Bye, guys.